Hi, welcome back to Pope's Plates. Today we are going to be making a zucchini soup. This soup is part of our ongoing soup series. I think you're really going to love it. So let's get started. This is a family favorite soup. And today we found out that we have new neighbors moving in next door to my mom's house. So we're going to increase our recipe a little bit and take some over to them. It's hearty, it's cold outside. They're going to be tired. This is an awesome recipe to bring to someone who's not feeling good or new neighbors. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut 2 onions. You want these relatively thin, but they don't have to be super thin because we're going to be cooking them in butter. They're going to steam and sort of saute, but they don't need to be huge chunks either. So as you can see, I'm cutting this onion into rings or half rings. If you want to cut it into cubes or something a little bit smaller, you can. I'm going to cut them into rings. When I was little, teenager, honestly, up until I was about 30, this was my favorite soup that my mom made. And I didn't think I liked zucchini. I don't know where I got that idea, but for the most of my adult life and as a child, I didn't think I liked zucchini. And so, as you will see in a minute, there is potato in this soup. So my mother, knowing that I didn't think I liked zucchini, called it potato soup. And I loved it. Had no idea I was eating zucchini. So when I got out on my own and I asked her for the recipe, I saw that it's a whole bunch of zucchini. And I was a little bit surprised, but thankful that my mom found out a way to make me eat the soup I love so much and not worry about the zucchini that I didn't think I liked. This is a soup anytime I'm sick, I ask her to make, because while I love making it, it's always better when your mom makes it. So I'm going to set these to the side. The next ingredient we have is 2 zucchini. This one I would say is large. The other one I'm about to cut is a medium-sized zucchini. But, 2 medium-sized zucchinis or a large and a medium is fine. And again, I'm cutting these into sort of discs. You can certainly do half moons or whatever you need to do, but I want this soup to be fast and easy for myself and for you. So we're going to do it a little bit more simply. I will move these over to the block where the onions are, and then I'm going to peel and cut the potatoes. I have 2 russet potatoes. The first one is already peeled. I'm going to peel the other one kind of off to the side, and then we're going to cut that. Just as a reminder, you can peel these a little bit ahead of time, but you've only got about 30 minutes before they start oxidizing, which is when they kind of turn a weird brownish gray. To help that not happen, if you're going to be taking some time, go ahead and put them in a little bit of water. Before I cut these potatoes, I'm going to put the butter on. We're going to be using a half stick or 4 tablespoons of butter. This is a very rich soup, but I promise it's worth it. So before I chop those, I'm going to get the butter in the pot so that it's nice and sizzling when we put our vegetables in. We're going to turn our heat on about I would say medium high, but we are not going to leave it that high. So I'm going to add the butter, and my mom reminded me, since we're doubling the recipe, that I need to double the butter. So we're going to add that in, and then we're going to cut our potatoes. We do not want our butter to brown much, but it should take me a minute or 2 to get these potatoes cut. So we've got both the sticks of butter in, and now we're going to cut the potatoes and we're going to add all the vegetables back in here. I'm going to cut these potatoes. Potatoes are fibrous and will take longer to cook. So I actually need to cut them a little thinner than I did the first couple. Just because you don't want really, really undercooked potatoes with cooked onions, or really, really mushy onions and your potatoes be undercooked. Our vegetables are completely chopped. I'm going to get those. I'm going to put the potatoes in our pan or pot. Now, as soon as I get all these stirred up, I'm going to make sure that we turn the butter down maybe to low or simmer and put the top on. So let me get the rest of them. All right, so we're going to finish adding everything. I dropped the zucchini on the floor, or a couple. Charlie's going to love that. He'll come get it in a minute. You're not going to salt or pepper this at all. So I'm just going to stir it in so that everything is kind of coated in the butter. And then I'm going to cover it, and I'm going to turn it down, like I said, to simmer, because you don't want these to burn on the bottom. You're going to want to stir often, but I'm going to come back and check after about 15 or 20 minutes. I think it's going to take longer than that, but I want to make sure with the cooking temperature. But maybe every 5 minutes stir it so that it doesn't stick to the bottom. So our vegetables have completely cooked. Because we doubled the recipe, we have more vegetables that are going to fit in our blender. So I'm going to take about half of those and put them in a bowl, and the rest are going to go into the blender with some chicken broth. So let me do that without burning myself. And what you may notice is that our soup, our vegetables, got a little bit browned. It's not going to hurt anything, but it's because I didn't stir it often enough. I got to talking, even though I told you all to stir it often enough, I didn't do it. The remaining vegetables I'm going to put in the blender. I'm not the neatest human being in my life, so if I spill something, I'm really sorry. Okay, as I'm getting the last of these vegetables out, I want to make sure that I get them all out, because we don't want like a big chunk of, well, you might, but we're not going to make a big chunk of potato in the bottom of our soup. So now that these vegetables are in, this calls for cans of chicken broth. I'm sorry if you hear that noise. Our next door neighbors are moving in and they're doing stuff. It's good. This calls for 14 ounces for one. So we're going to do obviously 28 ounces because we doubled it. I'm going to put about 14 ounces in this. Will you record that part? Okay, this is right at 14 ounces. I'm going to put that in, and I'm going to blend it. That's really your personal taste about how much you want to blend it, but I'm going to blend it pretty thoroughly. Now, as you can see, I'm glad we separated it because we've got quite a bit in here. Make sure that you hold on to the top so it doesn't come flying out. One thing I forgot to mention, or I didn't mention, is that you can peel the zucchini if you want to, but you're going to see when we're completely finished with this how absolutely beautiful it looks to have the green in there. So I've done the first half. I'm going to come back when the second half is completely finished, and we'll finish off our soup. Everything has been blended. Now we're going to add our last two ingredients. We are going to add 2 cans of evaporated milk. Now, the first time I made this on my own, not only did I discover there was zucchini in my potato soup, but I put sweetened condensed milk in there. They're next to each other on the shelf. It was truly terrible. So make sure that you are looking for evaporated milk. We're going to stir this in. This is a really full bowl of soup. And I'm just going to make it incorporated a little bit. Our last ingredient is Creole seasoning. We use Tony's brand, not sponsored. It's just what we like. It is spicy. Creole seasoning is spicy. We're putting in a total of 2 teaspoons because we doubled the recipe. So it would be 1 teaspoon. Even that is a little spicy. If you want to reduce it and not have the spice but still want the flavor, maybe put in a pinch of garlic powder, a pinch of salt and pepper, and that'll enhance the flavor if you're not adding as much Creole seasoning. One thing that I remembered as I was cooking this is I'm not really, like I told you before, really good at cutting things really thinly. If for some reason some of your vegetables are not cooked as thoroughly as you would like and others are mushy, feel free to put the soup together and then simmer it on a really low heat, and that'll cook the vegetables the rest of the way. You shouldn't have to do that, but just in case you are a big cutter like I am, that'll help. I'm going to give this a little taste. I want to see if I feel like it needs anything else. Believe it or not, I might add a tiny bit more Creole seasoning. Although, now that it's in the back of my tongue, I won't. This is fantastic. I am so glad you were here with us today. This soup is fantastic. It's actually part of our soup series. The other soup we've made, or soups we've made, will be in a card, which will be right here on your screen, or right here on your screen. And they're going to be in the description box below. Make sure that you follow us for more soup recipes. I hope you loved it. Let us know what you think in the comment section below. If you're not already subscribed, we would love to have you as part of our family. Until I see you next time, let's keep cooking.